This is Valley News Live at 10.
Tonight, we are following a developing story out of Moorhead. An investigation is now underway by the Moorhead PD following a homicide that took place last night near the 3000 block of 17th Street and 30th Avenue South. Residents say the area has been nothing but trouble. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling has more.
It's just terrible, and it's very scary, you know, and the fact that the guy is still at large, that just is even scarier yet.
A homicide investigation has been opened in Moorhead after an adult victim died near the 3000 block of 17th Street South.
And all of a sudden I heard the popping and I thought, oh, they're probably shooting off fireworks. You know, that was my first thought. And then it was kind of quiet for a little bit, and then all of a sudden we heard the sirens and stuff, and then we looked around and said, uh-oh.
And Chris Kirschman was just visiting his fiancée when he heard at least 4 gunshots.
Hearing that kind of stuff going on around here, it's a pretty scary situation. I was like, I couldn't believe that I heard that this was turned into a homicide, but I guess I'm not surprised.
Moorhead PD responded to multiple gunshot calls at around 8 p.m. on Friday, and when they arrived, a bystander was treating the victim. However, EMS was not able to save the victim.
And I live just straight across the tracks here, and I'm scared too.
Kirschman says that the area is getting worse and worse, and people just need to get out.
I would say, you know, if you can get out of here, I mean, I would do it. And, you know, it's not worth it, you know, to be around here where all this kind of bad stuff is happening, and it's happening too frequent.
In Moorhead, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
Anyone with information regarding this case is asked to call the Red River Regional Dispatch at 701-451-7660. Stay with Valley News Live as we follow this story. And a multi-vehicle crash blocked the intersection of 8th Street South and Bellesley Boulevard in Moorhead this afternoon. MPD says a small car was heading north on 8th Street when it veered into the southbound lanes, causing it to collide head-on with a stopped vehicle. The crash then pushed the second vehicle into another behind it. The car responsible for the collision continued into traffic, crashing into another along its path. The driver and passenger of that car were taken to a local hospital. All other individuals that were involved were treated at the scene for minor injuries. 2 people were hurt in a 2-vehicle crash in Otter Tail County. The accident occurred shortly before 3 p.m. this afternoon along Highway 210 near Underwood. Minnesota State Patrol says a car was traveling east on the highway when it collided with an SUV going north on County Road 35. The drivers of both vehicles were taken to an area hospital to be treated for non-life-threatening injuries. 3 juvenile passengers were in one of the vehicles at the time. They were unharmed during the accident. And 1 person has died after their vehicle overturned in Becker County near Maple Grove Township. Authorities say emergency personnel responded to County Road 143 just west of Bruce Boulevard around 7:30 this morning. Upon arrival, crews found a person in the vehicle unresponsive. That person was later pronounced dead on the scene. Also developing tonight, police in Grand Forks are looking for an armed robber who demanded money from a random person walking home. The police report says authorities were called around 6 a.m. this morning. The victim says he was walking home in the 300 block of North Washington Street when he was approached from behind by a man claiming he had a gun. The robber then took the victim's wallet before running off. The suspect is described as a black man in his early 20s, between 5'10" and 6'2", with a very slender build. The robber was wearing a red, black, and green sweatshirt with blue jeans. If you have any information regarding this incident, you are asked to call GFPD at 701-787-8000. 20 years ago, the nation was rocked by the tragic events of September 11th, and to mark the anniversary, many are reflecting on the events of that day. Our D.C. Bureau reporter Kristen Casper brings us an interview with North Dakota's congressman at the time, Earl Pomeroy.
In 2001, Representative Earl Pomeroy was North Dakota's lone U.S. congressman. Like many other lawmakers in Washington at the time, he described September 11th as a day of anxious confusion, fear, and anxiety. Former Representative Earl Pomeroy remembers the beautiful morning, clear, radiant blue skies, a normal day of coffee and meetings on Capitol Hill. Then he turned on the news.
This is the second Twin Tower now on fire.
And the evacuations began.
Everyone's standing around outside. There is no means of getting information.
Hours later, he says he had his first look at the devastation, driving near the Pentagon, which was struck by a third plane less than 30 minutes after 2 planes hit the Twin Towers in New York City.
There was an acrid smell in the air. My first real view of the horrible tragedy we've been trying to understand.
In the days following, Pomeroy describes long meetings, unanswered questions, and chaos, but at the forefront, an unwavering sense of unity in Washington.
God bless America. I was driving to the airport, and there was a group standing with an American flag over the underpass. And out of the blue, I started crying. I hadn't realized the emotion is still with me.
And it's still there 20 years later. Noting the tensions again rising in the Middle East, Pomeroy says this.
Ultimately, this is our country. We all love it. Left to right, Republican, Democrat, liberal to conservative. And under attack, we're going to come together like no other place, and we're going to continue the work of carrying this country forward.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Kristen Casper, Valley News Live.
And here in Fargo, the AM vets unveiled a monument in remembrance of those lost on 9/11.
Hey! March! Ready! Hey! March! Ready! Hey! March!
The stone has a symbol that represents the Twin Towers and the Pentagon that were attacked on this day 20 years ago.
9/11, 2001, everybody knows where they were. Everybody knows what they were doing. You're just not going to forget it.
The monument can be seen at the AmVet Center at 1001 First Avenue South. Later on Valley News Live at 10, a Navy veteran is celebrating a milestone birthday. But up next, Summer shares details on your forecast for this week.